Hello and welcome to another Trinity Business Alumni video interview. Today we're joined by Bob Smyth, who is the Chief Executive of Pulse Tidal, and Bob joins us immediately after a dinner in camera here in Trinity College. Bob, thanks for joining us for the interview and for dinner this evening. I think it's fair to say that you got a very enthusiastic response, given that it's approaching 11 o'clock and you've just finished answering questions, so we won't keep you for too long. Maybe you might begin by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure, yeah. So I've been in the industry for about 22 years. I started with BP. I worked for BP for 20 years, working originally in the oil and gas business. I was a drilling engineer, worked in a refinery for a long time, and also did some work on the commercial side of the business. And I finished in the last couple of years at BP, working for BP Solar in alternative energy. Once I kind of got to the point where I'd done everything I wanted to do in BP, I started to work outside, and now I'm in the tidal power business.
Thank you. And you spoke this evening about, I suppose, changes in the energy market, particularly a focus on where renewable energy is going to have to come in to replace particularly fossil fuels. Could you talk to us a little bit about that and what are the key trends that are emerging?
Sure. I mean, I think what's very clear is if you look at the fossil fuel side of the business at the moment, there are a huge number of factors which are driving the price of fossil fuels up. Whether you look at it from a scarcity of supply point of view, from the difficulty and the complexity and the new sources, whichever direction you take, the indicators are that the price of fossil fuels is going to increase. I think that increase in fossil fuel price is one factor. When you combine that with a sort of drive for energy security and concerns about where our future energy is coming from, and then also add in the CO2 issue, what you see is a real strong drive to find alternative sources of power. And the renewables market is a great place to find that with power that doesn't pollute and doesn't generate CO2.
And I gather Ireland is certainly a country full of opportunity for renewable power, wind and tidal energy, providing much opportunity for companies such as Pulse Tidal.
Yes, that's right. I mean, for me, when I look at Ireland as a tidal power company, it's one of the great tidal resources in the world around the coast of Ireland. I think if you also look at it from a wave point of view, it has a phenomenal wave resource, and it clearly has a huge amount of wind as well. So if you look at just those three renewable technologies, Ireland is very well endowed with the pure resource. And opportunity has to take advantage of that and to build an industry here based around renewable technologies.
And Pulse Tidal has a very particular angle to take on that within Ireland. What are your plans and your opportunities here?
Sure, yeah. I mean, so for Pulse, one of the great things about tidal power in Ireland is that if you look around the coastline, there's an opportunity in the Shannon. And the Shannon is quite a shallow river. It has a good flow rate, and it's very close to a lot of infrastructure. And so for early tidal devices, actually it's a perfect location. Our own technology, sort of uniquely in the sector, actually will work really well in shallow water. And so the Shannon is kind of like the perfect site for Pulse Tidal technology, and it's also close to infrastructure, which means you can connect to the grid very easily. So as a first tidal site in Ireland, it's actually a fantastic location.
And perhaps finally, if globally we see ourselves moving towards using renewable energy to a much greater extent than we do today, presumably there are a lot of other opportunities that crop up with that. If smart metering is to come into homes, for example, are we going to end up having a much greater market around insulation to try to help people to achieve that? Are there, do you think, considerable opportunities there for ancillary companies to crop up around companies such as Pulse Tidal?
Yes, of course. I mean, I think that what we're doing here is we're creating a whole new energy organisation, a whole new energy infrastructure in the country, whether you're talking about grid connections and the engineering associated with that, whether you're talking about smart metering and the engineering associated with that, whether you're talking about pure services that help people to reduce their energy consumption, whether it be insulation or other services. There's lots of new ideas that can be created and lots of new industries that can spring up around this new transformed power sector.
Fantastic. Bob Smyth, Chief Executive of Pulse Tidal, thank you very much for joining us at Trinity Business Alumni this evening.
It's a pleasure, it's been great.